Hey folks, today I'm going to show you the best way to learn jazz piano from the very beginning. If you think you are going to learn a bunch of music theory, chords, and scales, good news, we are not. Because the best way to start learning jazz is by learning a simple concept, put it into practice right away, having fun with it, and then go to the next level. If you're new to this channel, my name is Jakub Saputra. I'm a composer and a jazz pianist and an educator, and I've been teaching music for over 15 years. In this video, we are going to jumpstart your jazz piano journey by learning how to improvise over a 12-bar blues.
You know the blues.
Why? Because blues is the grandfather of jazz. Blues is the genesis of jazz. So by learning blues, we will get a solid foundations to further our jazz journey. So today we are going to learn what is 12-bar blues, what to do with the left hand, and what you can do with the right hand, and how to practice them efficiently. So without further ado, let's play some blues. So what is 12-bar blues to begin with? Well, 12-bar blues is basically just a chord progressions that is 12 bars in length, and usually people repeat it over and over again and improvise over it. In the most basic form, you can just use 3 chords to play the whole thing. C7, C dominant 7, F7, and G7. It's all dominant chords. That's very important. There's a very good chance that you already know how to play C7, F7, and G7. Right? But today, we're gonna use the most basic things about C dominant 7. We only gonna play 2 notes to represent C dominant 7. Do you know what the 2 notes are? Well, I'm just gonna play E and B flat to represent C7. Why? Because these 2 notes, the 3rd and the 7th, it's actually called the guide tones. This is like the DNA of the chord itself. So without playing the C itself, we already give the most important harmonic essence of this chord. There you go. Just by playing E and B flat, we represent C. But if you feel like, Jakub, I really want to play the C, the root, well, you're welcome to do so. So you can just play root and the guide tones. What about F? For F, you probably already know that you're gonna have to play F, A, C, and E flat. That's the F7. But the guide tone of F's dominant 7 is A and E flat, right? So what happens if I put the E flat down here instead of playing up here? If I'm moving it here, now from the C7, when I go back to C7, I just have to screw over a little bit. There you go. So now I'm in C7, the guide tones of C7, and if I move a half step to the left, I have F7, right? Because this is the guide tones or the DNA of F7 in itself. If you want to play the root, you're welcome to do so. You're gonna go reach down here. I know it's a little bit of a stretch for a lot of people. This stretch is probably not very comfortable, but again, you don't really need to. You can just use these 2 notes to represent F7 itself. So we already have the C7, we have F7, and G7. How about G7? You probably already know G7 is like this: G, B, D, and F. But if you intended only to play the guide tone, we only need the B and the F. And like what I did with the F7, if I move this F right here down 1 octave lower, now I have this guide tone, an inverted guide tone. Now, if I play from the C7, I just have to move backward like this. Isn't it pretty cool? So in the center is C7. Going to the left, half step to the left is F7. Going back to the middle is F7 again. If I tilt it to the right, by half step, I get G7. So again, you can always play the root like this with the root and guide tones. F7 you can play like this, and for G7 you can play like this. But remember, even without the root, we already conveyed the most important harmonic informations through the guide tones alone. Okay, now let's try to play it with a backing track, shall we? Here we go. We're gonna start with C7. Just keep holding it. You can play it again. 3. Now go to F7. F7 again. Now get ready to go back to C7. Beautiful. Now go to G7. Jump to F7. C7 again. F G7 a little bit and going back to the top. Beautiful. Bar 2, bar 3. Now we go to F7. Here we go. Beautiful. Back to C7. Beautiful. Now go to G7. F7. Back to C7. That's it. It's pretty easy, right? I told you just it's super easy. I told you it's very easy. So there you go, you have your left hand. Now what about the right hand? Because we were trying to improvise using a 12-bar blues, don't we? Well, now let's learn what we're gonna do with the right hand. What we're gonna do in the right hand, we're just gonna play the blues scale. So what is blues scale? So again, we're gonna play it in C. So the blues scale from C is C, E flat, F, F sharp, G, B flat, and C. Fingering wise, I like to do this: 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. Don't worry if you cannot play that fast. You just have to get it accurately at the beginning, slowly, and make sure that you nail the notes. And you have to be able to visualize these notes. These notes has to pop for you. You have to be able to visualize it very well before you can actually be free and play whatever. I suggest you just play up and down by 2 octaves. But try also to just messing around with it. Don't care about the timing. Don't care about whether it sounds good or not. Just play it in a random pattern. So what you want to do with that is you just want to be able to recognize these sets of notes without stumbling on the wrong notes. Just be free. You don't have to worry about playing the right note because now it's all about visualizations and teaching your fingers the right place to play. So go ahead, you can pause this video and just trying to mess around, and I'll be here when you're done. You're good? Alright, so let's continue. So when you learn the new scale like this, you don't want to over-criticize yourself. Just imagine when you learn how to speak. When you were 3 years old or 4 years old, do you really care about your grammar? No. Do you really care if you make sense or not? No, you just babble around. Be like a kid. Be like a jazz toddler. Have you ever seen like a toddler that convinced that they are saying something very important, but they're actually just saying nonsense?
Did you understand it though?
Yeah.
Exactly. So don't be afraid to do that. So you just want to play around. Sometimes you stumble upon something really good. Sometimes you just don't know what you're saying. That's okay. That's totally okay. You have to be able to give yourself a permission to sound weird, to sound bad, to sound awkward, just like a toddler. So what do you want to do? Just play around like that. But now, how about doing it over a backing track? So it become more and more fun. Again, don't over criticize yourself. You just learning. That's okay. So let's try to improvise over it, okay? I'm gonna try to play, but I want you to just follow me if you would. Here we go. So how do you feel? Again, the most important thing is that you be able to visualize the blues scale itself and try to play with a couple of patterns. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't think about what the rhythm's supposed to be to create phrasing. That comes later. Right now, just have fun with it. After you have fun with it, mess a little bit with it, and make a total nonsense. After a while, you're gonna start sounding pretty okay. You start have a confidence. You start creating phrases that you wouldn't have otherwise did, and that's a good progress. Now, as a bonus, you can find some of my favorite licks in the description below. After you feel more comfortable improvising over the blues, you might be ready to learn 2-5-1 progressions. Make sure to subscribe to this channel for the next lessons videos, especially on the 2-5-1 progression. Well, I hope you had a great time, because I do, and I would appreciate if you hit the like button. It will help to grow this channel tremendously so I can continue to make better videos for you. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I'll see you next time.